Awesome. So Brian decided to take a little vacation and he's in Hawaii this week. So I get the honor of running this meeting. Thanks, guys. But so welcome everyone. And I just wanted to take a minute to thank you all. It is so lovely to see your faces each month and to give your time to this continued and somewhat frustrating effort. I really appreciate you being on this journey. It's challenging and it's nice to see these consistent faces and hear all of your voices in the room each time. And a shout out to Shannon and Cece and the other folks at the city who are also just continuing to try and keep up and, you know, doing different versions of everything and all that. So I just wanted to start with some appreciation. Last time we met, we'd all committed to doing some tabling events. We were ready to get out in the community. We were so excited. We were going to be in person. And then Delta hit Oregon pretty hard. And yet again, the goalposts keep moving on us, but that's okay. We'll pivot. And I'm confident that we can still do that. I think we have some good things in our favor. We have a project manager coming on board, which hopefully we'll hear about more later. And you know, we're all here and we're committed and we're patient. So I think we're going to be okay. I'm looking forward to this meeting tonight. I think it's going to be good. The first part, we'll see if we have anyone joining us from the community. It's kind of supposed to be an open house. For people who might be interested in joining boards and commissions to understand what the VAC is all about. So we'll host that little bit in the beginning. Then we'll hear from our friends, Councilor Fagin and Shannon at the city. And then we're gonna wrap things up with a little call to action to see if we can get some more traction on our survey. So that is what we have in store. And I guess I will pass it off to Shannon to help us through the public participation bit, or if we have any visitors for them to do introductions.
We have no visitors. So we can just move ahead, and if somebody comes in a little late, we can circle back.
And I don't know if you saw, Sarah, but Amy went over to talk to one of the other committees about the visioning. So she'll jump back on when she's done with that.
Oh, that's great. That'll be exciting to hear how that goes.
Speaking of which, I'm supposed to do one tomorrow. Is there a script for this?
No, you're shaking your head. Yes. Do you know more?
Yeah, there is a script. Go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, there was an email that I think Cece sent us in the last month that had some brief speaking points, okay, and then the link to the survey as well to share that you could put in the chats. Maybe
when Amy comes back, we can have her tell us what she said so we can say the same thing.
Yeah, that's some real-time feedback. This is exciting. All right, well then we will skip over that agenda item. And I don't know, we have a later on, but do we want to go ahead and do that now and get it out of the way?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, did everyone get a chance to read briefly, or Wade, do you want a little more time, or are you motioning?
No, I just wanted to say that the email that had the script on it was August 5th, if anyone wanted to check on that.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last time?
I motion to approve the minutes.
We're in motions. Do we have a second?
Second.
And Wade a second. Thank you. All right, then I will pass it off to Councilor Fagin for a council update.
Actually, Sarah, can we approve the June minutes too?
Sure.
Thanks.
Motion to approve the June minutes.
I move to approve the June minutes.
Thank you, Amanda. Anyone second?
A second.
All right. Now I will pass it off for a council update.
Okay. And Shannon, just so you know, I think you have the the black screen that has been following staff around lately.
Oh, odd. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
we can't see you.
I have a point of clarification for the minutes. I think we have to take a vote to approve. We had a first and a second for the June minutes, but we didn't actually vote on it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
I,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good catch. Okay. I think Shannon will probably talk a little bit about welcoming week because that's coming up, and that's there's a lot of details online about that on the city website, but definitely worth looking into and getting to as many of the activities as you can, either virtually or in person. On the election front, there's an election in a couple of weeks in the city. There's going to be a voters forum a week from tomorrow at 7 p.m. Again, there's a link on the city's website if you want. I can put it in the chat, but the two candidates for the runoff election for the extra seat that was created by the new charter, sorry, the seat that was created when Mayor Beatty became mayor will be voted on. So the two candidates will be at the forum and people will be able to ask them questions and hear their views on things. We had, I think, two really interesting topics last week for council. Staff had put them forward as a roundtable, which usually is a short discussion. These two topics took a lot of time and were not short. So if you're interested, the first one was a discussion of policing, whether it's oversight or advisory, depending on how you want to word it. But it was the first time we as a council have been able to kind of talk together about that topic specifically. So that was interesting. It will turn into additional work sessions with public comment and kind of next steps from there. But that was a good conversation to start. The next one was on ARPA funding, which
quick
is
question.
Yeah.
What's the goal of the policing thing?
That is one of the good questions. So there was a point brought up from Human Rights Advisory that they would like to see a police oversight or advisory committee. I believe they phrased it as an oversight committee. An oversight committee for police, it's a huge gamut of what the board could do. Whether you go from just advising on policy, on process for complaints, on any number of things there, all the way to I think the other extreme is where Portland is with basically holding hearings and inquiries on incidents. The advice we've had so far has been we have to right size it for Beaverton. So to figure out what that looks like for our community, we have to have the conversations and see where it goes. So there are no decisions made yet as to what it would look like and how it would come together.
Or a stated goal. Okay.
But we had to have that first conversation, and that was important to know. It's good that we had it.
So what were the concerns or points brought in by the advisory board in that meeting?
I think just more visibility and transparency to help build trust with the police department. I think the overriding concern of the Human Rights Advisory Commission, that as far as I understand it, is what do we need to put in place as a community to ensure as best possible that some of the horrific events that have happened across the country don't happen in Beaverton? And to do that, we need to understand policies and procedures of the police department and what best practices are and how those policies are created. And it's a lot to figure out. And one way to do that is to have an advisory board look into it and advise on what the board would feel would be best practices for the city of Beaverton.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question.
Mhm.
Would this take the place of the chief of police's advisory board, or is this in addition to the chief's advisory board, or is that not happening anymore?
There is not a chief's advisory board.
Oh, okay.
One item that was brought up is to start, it could be a Chiefs Advisory Board. Councilor Tivnon had what I thought was a pretty cool idea of basically having a board that reported out to 3 different areas. One was to the chief, one was to the council, and the others to the community. I'm not sure how that all would come together, but I thought that was interesting because that seems a little different. And what I know about Beaverton is that it seems a little different and it's intriguing and interesting. Maybe that's a good starting point for us.
Does the
And do we
Beaverton,
know? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
is the Beaverton Police doing another like community police academy where they let people in, kind of like the Leadership Beaverton? It used to be the
Yeah.
Citizens Police Academy. Are they still
Citizens
doing that
Police
program?
Academy. That program is ongoing. I know they suspended it because of COVID. Just having people in the building to do the kind of training and work that they put on in that program. They couldn't do it during COVID. And then I think it got better enough that they thought maybe they could, and now we're back in the point where I'm thinking they probably have to delay it. But it didn't go away. It's still there and will continue when it's safe.
Because I would recommend, there's been a lot of really interested and engaged community members who've participated and graduated from that program, that it would be great to reach out to them if there were to be a committee that was formed, like an oversight committee, to have people who have invested some time to kind of go through that and get to know all of the different departments within the police department, that just to have that background knowledge, or at least like recommend that people from that oversight committee go through that process, because it's an opportunity to really meet officers and talk about the different specialty teams and the different parts of their job and kind of get that inside look. It would be nice if you could tap into some of those people who have shown an interest in the past and then also reach out in the future. Just an idea.
Yeah, the idea of how to make that board or bring that board together, where do you pull from, is one of the obviously first questions that needs to be answered, so that you have a group of people that are interested enough and willing to spend enough time to understand, in the boring wonky part, how policy is made, right? How it's made, why it's reformed, how do they reform it, why do they change it, all of those questions. Chief's done some interest, well, in Human Rights Advisory last year, they had a session on that, and it was, I found it really interesting.
Now, do we know of any other cities that have done this around the country? Anything we can model after? Is anyone looking at that?
Yeah, they're huge range. Like I said, it's just the same thing. Cities have done everything from just like Chiefs Advisory all the way through, oversight. Typically, it's larger cities that have pretty intensive oversight. Smaller cities have more advisory. We're Beaverton, and we can do what fits best for our community. So,
okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
A somewhat related policing question, and especially since Portland was also brought up. I know Portland is planning or is considering a vaccine mandate for police officers. Do you know if anything like that is considered in Beaverton, and if where would that decision have to come from?
So I can tell you the weird thing that I do know, and I don't know how that's going to be overcome, is that in state law, there is a law that says you cannot mandate police to have a vaccination. So Portland will try and get that overturned. It's a bizarre law, because when would you have written it, right? I don't have all the history of it. I know it exists. It has been brought up as one of the things that would be considered if you were to mandate vaccines for all city employees.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
Has that been done?
Has which been done?
The all city employees? Is there a mandate?
No. And at this point, the city employees are in a mixture of working remote and working in the office.
What's the response from the police department around this conversation? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm sure they've been thinking about it for a while as these conversations are going around the country.
Yeah, I haven't, well, we haven't as engaged in that type of a conversation because that's more, it's in that strange area of whether it's policy or whether it's management, right? And so who makes that call? In other cities, the city managers have been making that decision. Of course, in council with their council, but it's been more a management decision. If we were to step into it, it would be a little bit different than what other cities have been doing. But you know, we'll see where it comes. At this point, there's still a lot of new, right? Which is at least what I had anticipated, that we really weren't going to get into how a lot of the governance questions were going to be answered until we had the full-time city manager. And so I think that's part of the exciting part. You know, the interim city manager did an excellent job, but I think the role was different, right? The role was, how do I get the city from where we are now to when a full-time city manager comes in? And now that we have the full-time city manager, it's like, okay, how do I put in best practices throughout the organization? I could keep going, but I want to watch your time, so I can stop here. I do have a fill curve that I'll wait until Amy comes back, and then I'll put the link in, because if I put it in now, she won't see it. But I did pull it up, so I have the one from July.
You were going to talk about some kind of ARPA funding, or there was another second part.
Yep.
I didn't get what the acronym was, so I'm curious.
It's the American Rescue Fund, right? And the city will get approximately $16 million in funds to work on that program. And a lot of cities have done a lot of different things with it. And so the discussion about what is the best use of those funds to help our city recover is going to be an interesting set of discussions, because it can be everything from how do we help individuals to how we help businesses, to how do we make sure that we get the city funded the way that it needed to be, because it's had losses as well. So it's going to be, you know, just from the initial discussion, there are ideas all over the place. So I think that's going to be a fun one to keep an eye on. And Amy's back, so I will put this in the chat. I apologize, because this is a very long document, and the fill curve is at like page 97.
Okay, is it updated every month or every quarter?
It's a quarterly thing, so the next one will be in October. And when we get to this point in the year, and it's going to be tight, sometimes they'll send out updates to us. I haven't seen one yet, and I'll probably call and see if they have one that they can share.
And is the Joint Water Commission the board that you had mentioned previously being the chair of?
No, that was Regional Water Providers Consortium, which is an organization that does emergency management, conservation, and education on smart use of water. You'll see regional water providers do like commercials on TV about conserving water, right? Usually with one of the local weather people. Joint Water Commission I've been chair of before, but that was years ago. And the difference is the Joint Water Commission is the water supplier, right? So Joint Water Commission takes what they call raw water, or water from the river or from our reservoir, and treats it to make it into drinking water, and then pipes it from outside of Hillsborough all the way over to Beaverton.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I have looked at the maps a little bit of our water supply, so I know of the Joint Water Commission, but it's hard to keep all the acronyms straight. Sorry to take up all the meeting time though on this. Thanks.
No, and I apologize because I try not to speak in acronyms and sometimes it's hard not to.
Amy, it sounds like your audio is much better now.
I put on my headset this time.
Thank you. We do have a little bit, not worried about running out of time. So if anyone has questions for Councilor Fagin, please feel free to jump in. Otherwise, I will pass it off to Shannon for a city update.
Thank you very much. Well, as Councilor Fagin mentioned, Welcoming Week is coming up. So it's September 9th through the 19th. There are 14 different events happening. Some are virtual and some are in person. I've put the link in the chat for you so you can check that out and see if there's anything of interest to you. I will share with you the city update that I've been given. Please help us mitigate the COVID-19 surge. Do this through vaccination, testing, wearing masks, distancing safely, avoiding crowds, and you can learn more at the Washington County website. I will send these to you in email so that you have more information. The special election and fall voters forum, the runoff election for Beaverton City Council position 1 is Tuesday, September 21st. You can hear from the candidates running during the fall voters forum. There's a live virtual event on Thursday, September 9th at 7 p.m. And it will also be broadcast on TVC-TV channels 30 and 28. The link for the online will be in your email as well. If you have questions for the people who are running for the position, you can send those in. You need to direct the questions to both candidates and get those in by Thursday, September 2nd. So tomorrow. And please mail in your sign-in ballots or your signed ballots by Wednesday, September 15th. After that date, you can drop the signed ballots off at an official collection site. And then the community visioning survey made it to the city updates. And so the information for that is in there as well as the links. So that will be shared with all the boards and commissions this month too. And you've had the link several times in your email, but if anybody needs that again, just let me know and I'll send it your way. Nathan Davis was selected to be the project manager for the visioning. I believe CC sent out like a little email that gives an introductory paragraph about him. I haven't met him yet, so you now know as much about him as I do. And we will wait till September 13th when he starts. And in October, we will get to meet him in our meeting. That's all go ahead.
Who was part of the interview process, right? Was that
I was.
Did you vote for this person? You want to tell us a little bit?
Yeah, he was in my top 3. And then they had a second round in person. For that, I think Amanda represented us.
But I wasn't in on his. I attended one of the second round interviews, and unfortunately it wasn't his. So
yeah, okay. But yeah, he seemed really competent and has done this kind of work before. And yeah, I liked him.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to meet him, and hopefully that will give us a little more momentum. Any questions for Shannon about stuff happening at the city?
I got one. Actually, it's a follow-up for now that Amy's back. Maybe we can ask Amy about what the script is or what the spiel is when you go to one of these other committees. I couldn't find CC's email that had any description of what we're supposed to cover. The only one I saw was the one asking for volunteers for these things. So if either Shannon or Amy could mention something.
Yeah, Amy, we were actually, after you left, we were like, oh, this will be good if you can come back and tell us.
Okay, well, I'm sure Shannon also probably has things at the top of her head she could say, but I got an email that was sent from CC and it had a Google document attached to it, and that's where the like script was. It wasn't necessarily, to me, the super intuitive languaging of it, so you might want to read it over and like figure out how you want to say stuff. But the script that she gave us was just basically describing what the vision is, but also there was a section at the end to like ask questions. But at the meeting I was at, I was just in the public comment period. That's when they could fit me in. So it didn't feel right to really ask them questions about what they want in the vision. So I just explained that we have this survey open. I probably should have told them when it's closing. I don't know if it's still closing at the end of September or what. And I gave them the link to our vision page, and I gave them the direct link to the survey, which is really messy. I'm wondering if we have a bit.ly or another shortened direct link to give instead. I didn't know where that was. And yeah, then they just were asking me about what the vision committee is and what the vision is generally. And I had mentioned also that in our conversations, we did want to potentially work with the other commissions on our questions and our outreach and getting feedback from them. So I just mentioned that because it wasn't in the script, but it felt like it would be relevant. So I told them they should talk to their staff liaison and connect with us that way. And I also gave them my email address, even though I think it would be better if they just do it through the staff liaison. So I don't know if in the future we can give them Shannon, or I can't remember, Nathan, whoever's email to give in case they have feedback or ways they want to collaborate with us.
Or CC's cell phone number.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Has anyone else had a chance to go to a committee, or was that the first one, Shannon?
Today was the first one, I think.
Today, okay. All right.
Oh, I just wanted to see if it's maybe Shannon. Is it possible to get that Google document? I saw an email with like it mentioned, but I never saw. I'm looking through my email right now, and I don't actually see one.
Yeah,
I don't actually have it either, so I will ask.
I can't find it. Actually, Amy, do you have it?
It's a Word document. I have it, but I don't have an email where we're all like CC'd, and I think we can add files in here. Oh, it's not letting me add a file. So
Amy,
I don't know.
Just email that to me, then I can get it out to everybody.
Okay, I thought it was one that she sent to everybody, but I'll forward it.
Sometimes it doesn't go to all of the emails.
Yeah, I think she has a special group and you're part of it, Amy.
I do feel like you're always left off the emails for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, I see an email from her from August 16th.
That's the alias say cool people group or something.
But that's what it says in the subject. Yeah.
Okay.
Just kidding. Okay. That was super helpful. So Shannon, do you want to, you shared a little bit in an email to me and Brian about the survey results so far and the numbers and what's happening. I wonder if you want to share that information or if you have any more information about it.
Sure. So the survey is open until the 15th of September. We did ask marketing if we could keep it open until the end of September and got a hard no on that one. I'm not sure why, but there's probably good reasons. Analysis is going to start on September 21st. I was going to say, if you are going to a meeting after the link closes after 9:15, then what we would do is adjust the script to simply get feedback from the people that are in the meeting that you were in about what is important to them, and potentially even ask them a few questions and get their feedback there, and then we can try and add it in to our survey feedback. So marketing's goal was to have at least 300 responses to the survey, and a couple weeks ago they had 307 responses. I don't have an updated number on how many more they have since then. I can get that and send it to you when they're back in the office.
Yeah, I I didn't realize their goal was 300. Maybe that's okay then. When she sent an email saying that, and I like freaked out, and I was like, what? That's like nothing in a city of almost 100,000. But so I don't know, me and Brian had some emails back and forth where we felt like we wanted to light a little bit of a fire and try and get more. And I wanted to get the temperature of this group to see if that's the right approach. Do we want to put more energy into this, or are people like, no, that's okay. We wanted that initial small pulse check. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are after hearing this initial survey only reached about 300 people.
Do you want me just to start? I know one of the reasons why we were hoping it would go to the end of September was because I know Brian was set up to speak with the leadership group of the NAC, which is later in the month. There's like that group of all of the NAC leaders that was going to be there. So it would be another opportunity for them to go back to their folks or do a plea to ask their specific NACs.
That's on the 23rd.
Yeah, that was on the 23rd. And then there was also the Beaverton Committee for the BCCI, the community involvement one, that also had a lot of leaders. And so I think we were hoping that we could get into those before it closed, but I understand if the marketing team put a hard no. Sometimes with the surveys, they go for that representative sample, and they're probably thinking the 300 is a good threshold because of the plus or minus of the survey results. But I would support us still pushing it as much as we can with our groups, because I think that even if we, anything even above 300, I think is great to be able to get. So I would like to see us put more energy to get more. But I'm glad that we at least met their minimum threshold of what they were hoping for. So,
yeah,
I remember we had conversations about a true representative sample, and 300, like the first 300 people who responded are not necessarily the 300 representative members of the Beaverton community we're looking for. And if we haven't talked to the NACs, we haven't talked to BCCI, I'm going to dab on Monday, in a week and a half Monday. So they're going to have a 24-hour turnaround to get the word out to their folks to participate in the survey. It doesn't make sense that we're going to like preemptively close a survey before we have the opportunity to get the feedback that we're truly looking for.
I'd like to just second that, what Cynthia said, and also what I've seen from the way that we've been doing the outreach. It seems very much like the outreach that has been done in the past, where the city actually doesn't do a whole lot of work to reach out to community, just sends it on a general update if whoever's subscribed, and then send out to boards and commissions. It wasn't even in the newsletter that we got this week. So I don't have a lot of hope or like faith in the results of this survey. That's all I have to say. Especially if we end it in the middle of the month.
Yeah, so Shannon, I think, sorry, I know you're kind of the go-between, but if you can take that message or have CC take that message back to the group that put the survey out, and please ask them to keep it open either till the end of September or another month. If they're worried about the time crunch on analysis, maybe we can, work with them, but I don't really see a reason why they should say no. Or if they do, it would be nice to have that reason.
I will try and find out the reason. Both CC and I have had individual meetings where we have attempted to make all of the arguments that you all just made very forcefully, and still we're told that we can't leave this particular survey open longer than that. I will try and get a better sense of why that is, because I don't have a good response for that yet either.
Okay.
This is the kind of a silly way around this, but if it's just a matter of like, we can't leave a survey open this long, can we just have like a second identical survey open
Right.
on September 16th?
On the 16th, right?
We won't get all the analysis for it, but yeah.
And combine the data, right?
It will make their jobs twice as hard.
Well,
that might be motivation to do it. Yeah, I mean, I am also happy to write a request on behalf of the committee.
I do not know if that would be helpful, but if I do think it will be helpful after I revisit this with marketing again, I will definitely let you know and we can do that.
Okay.
I also had a similar thought about whether or not we could just make our own Survey Monkey survey that's identical to the one that they're doing, and then have Nathan combine that information when it all comes back and do an analysis from there. I'm 100% on board with you. It does not make sense to me to end it when it is being ended.
Amy, you just brought up a really interesting point. Do we love the survey enough to exactly duplicate it? And I don't think I want to come up with a different survey right now to push out, but I like this survey. It was supposed to be just a quick temperature gauge. Like, it is not the survey I imagined, or I think we all imagined putting out. So we could also decide to call it and just say, okay, we tried, but we're going to try something better in the next go, and maybe more momentum. Do it.
One of the hopes of one of the reasons for having more time is the hopes of casting a wider net and getting more demographic representation, right? And if we really want to combine the data from the first survey, and if we are actually doing a second survey starting the 16th, then we should keep it the same so that the data makes sense when you combine that. So.
I think you bring up a really good point too, that our outreach objectives were to cast a wider net and to not do it the same way and reach different populations. And I think by putting this artificial boundary in of a time restraint, that seems so silly to me. It defeats the purpose. So
I was wondering if we were going to be talking tonight. I thought I saw this on our agenda, but talking about some ways that we could individually widen the net to some groups that aren't connected to the city already, because that's ultimately who the presentations that we're making, that Amy just started tonight and that we're making this next week and the week after that. So if we could talk about that and some of those different groups, that would be great, just so that we get some people that aren't already entrenched within the city and already supporting city efforts in different ways and different capacities.
Thank you, Christina, for taking me off my rant and onto something productive. I appreciate that. We do want to do that. Brian actually said, if we can pull up maybe a Google Doc, Shannon, I don't know that I have permission to do anything, but if you are able to pull up some sort of spreadsheet where we can actually type in what we each commit to do and who we plan to send the link out to, that's outside of just the boards and commissions. We'll be interested in doing that.
Also, maybe before we get to that, can I ask, are there any more boards and commissions that need somebody to attend? I was out of town last week, so I didn't get to respond to CC's email. I don't know, Shannon, if you know, or if we should just follow up directly with CC.
There are a number of NACs that haven't been filled, but the boards and commissions meetings have been filled. And since you're having Brian go to the NAC leadership meeting, I think we might be okay. But that was a question we were going to ask later, is what your thoughts were on that.
But speaking of which, actually, another issue I have is CC mentioned that for my meeting tomorrow, that somebody would reach out to me and send information about the like the place I need to call in or the link or something, but I haven't heard anything back. So Shannon, would you have that information, or
you're wanting the information with the link Subba, and then the script.
Right, because after I agreed to this, Cece said, yeah, I'm going on vacation. Somebody will reach out to you about this, and no one has in a week. So I don't know if you would know.
Okay, yeah, I can send that again.
And also that other access to that document that we've been asking for, if someone could point to that.
Yeah, if you can send that around to everyone.
I just found the script that was sent on August 5th and I sent it to Shannon via email.
Okay. Is it a Google Doc? Can you put the
No,
link?
it was a Word document.
It was a Word. Okay. So it looks like, so Amy went to HRIC, and Amy, you're also signed up to go to the bicycle committee.
I think that's correct.
And then Amanda and Rachel are doing the arts and central NAC. As I know, Brian has signed up for BCCI and NAC leadership. Cynthia for DAB. I volunteered for the library committee. Did anyone volunteer for the committee on aging on the 7th? Christina, you're doing that one? Okay. So that's good. So yeah, so if we can just get an email of the Word document and shorter link, that would be great. Then I feel like we're in a good place.
Sending it now.
For Shannon's, okay.
And I guess in people's presentations, maybe say that, you know, push for urgency to do the survey, but that we anticipate it will be extended until the end of the month.
Hi, honey. Oh, I had a city meeting.
What was that?
I think I
Cameron
forgot to
walked
mute.
away and he's unmuted.
Oh, okay.
I also have some background noise. Sorry, guys, it's bath time. Let's see. Okay. Just got the ability to share. So I can share my screen and talk about who else we can reach out to. Okay, do you all see the empty spreadsheet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your faces anymore. So if you need to talk, just go ahead. All right, Jen, you had written something in the chat, but I can see the chat. Do you mind telling me what it was, or can someone read that?
Yeah, I said I would share it with MYAB, Mayor's Youth Advisory Board.
Okay, anyone else?
Christina, I'd be happy to reach out to the Leadership Beaverton alumni group. And I could also reach out to the Beaverton Area Chamber of Commerce as well. And then another one that I'll do is I'll reach out to the Michael Wong with the Beaverton Resource Guide and see if he can share it on his Facebook group, because I know he has a lot of followers there. And I also have a contact with the Four Seasons neighborhood in Beaverton. And I was also going to reach out to staff who live and work in Beaverton with Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue. I just have to get the right permissions to be able to post something.
Okay, and so Anyone else have any volunteer or any groups that you are part of that you want to share? Or I'm going to kind of look through our list of partners. And we can just do some cold calling or some straight up emailing out. And Brian said we can sign him up for at least like 10 or 30 since he's in Hawaii.
I'm doing the traffic committee tomorrow.
I just put the list that Brian specifically volunteered for in the chat too for you, Sarah. And then, yeah, he said 10 more partners he's willing to contact too.
Well, yeah, he's
Sarah, this is Amanda Hoffman. I've talked to the Beaverton Center for Mediation and Dialogue to either email or they have a weekly training, and I'll talk to the volunteers there and send out the link there.
Sarah, when you're done with this document, could you email this to me at the end of the meeting so that I can include it in the minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so
This is Rachel. I'll be at the CB NAC for sure, Central Beaverton NAC. And I was also thinking, I was curious about like, if it like, you know, as a board member, like, is it fine to share it like on Reddit or like other social media? Like, do we have to do any special disclosures or anything? All right, cool.
I mean, I saw it on Facebook from some like a mom's group.
Okay, cool. And then the other, I work at Nike and I'm in a few like Slack groups that I can put it out there into where I think people would be interested.
Did you say Slack groups? Is that?
Yeah, just like our internal messaging system.
So I'm just kind of reading through our partner list. So Asian Pacific American Chamber of Commerce. Does anyone have any connections there that they would want to reach out to? Take these all out because that's just, we have a lot of partners, but I'm just going to put a star that to identify it. Diversity Advisory Board, we already talked about. BCCI, we talked about. Habitat for Humanity. Reach out to them. You're all coming away with at least 5, right? Does that sound good?
I am wondering if a city staff would be willing to contact the school district, the communications department. There's
I can do that.
There's weekly communication that goes out to 100% of the parents, and 54% of the students in the school district are BIPOC. I feel like that's a super direct way of reaching people who live in Beaverton.
Great idea. Jen, did I hear you volunteer for that?
Yeah, you did. I also have contacts at the Korean Society of Oregon and the Korean Chamber of Commerce.
Some THPRD. I can reach out to them.
And isn't Holly their communications person? So she'll be all over visioning.
Totally. A German International School.
By the way, the school district communications goes out in multiple languages, right? So that's good.
It does, and it's automatically translated based on the parent's language preference.
Cool.
New Seasons Market is apparently one of our partners. If anyone wants to go put up a flyer. But I don't think that was exactly where we're hoping for.
A friend that works at New Seasons that maybe they can send stuff internally to other staff members.
Cool.
I could also send something to the Beaverton Valley Times.
Okay.
I would just encourage you when you're doing your outreach to make it clear to people that there will be another survey coming and that this is just a temperature check survey, so that we don't end up having people not answer the big survey because they think they've already answered it.
Yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity to refresh these contacts, you know, if you haven't talked to people in a while, and to introduce the idea of it, just like you said, you know, we're starting this process, this is our initial one, and we're gonna put out a more in-depth one later on. A communication channel. Actions there. Veteran services. The LC Stir Center.
You're kind of cutting out a little bit. Wouldn't THPRD, since the LC Stewart Center is part of the, like, they're the ones that manage the LC Stewart Center. So
Okay.
wouldn't Holly be able to, we could just ask her to specifically share it with LC Stewart with, when you reach out to her.
Okay. Sorry if I'm cutting out. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, who else do we have? Mayor's Youth Advisory Board, we already talked about. Washington County Disability. Organization is.
I think we may have missed their deadline to be able to get anything into the Washington County's Aging and Disability newsletter that goes out to people, because you usually have to be a month in advance. So we probably missed that window for them to be able to get it out easily on their newsletter.
Got it.
Let's make a note for that though, for the big long one, so we get it out to them for that.
Yeah, a lot of the newsletters, that's the same with the Beaverton Resource Guide, is that you need to submit things, you know, the 10th or the 15th of the month prior to the month that it's going to come out. So if you want to get into their September issue, then you needed to have done it the beginning of August.
Okay. Project Homeless Connect. But I can sign up for a home plate. Washington County Housing Services. Virginia Garcia. ODOT.
This is Jen. I can take Virginia Garcia.
This is Amy. I'd be willing to do outreach to some of the groups that you've been listing. I just don't have personal contacts with them already, so I don't know if there's maybe a better way to do this.
To make a call, you know, to try and just get to someone and say, hey, will you share this email out, or just make an initial connection, even if it's just so we know how to approach outreach for the next one. Was there someone specific you wanted me to sign you up for, Amy?
It's hard to keep all of them in mind since you're listing them but not typing them. The one that I had written down was like Habitat for Humanity, and then there was a Washington County something on housing. I don't know what it was though.
Washington County. I'm just so you guys know, is I'm just looking through the vision book and trying to meet the partners as we go. But it was Washington County Housing Services. If I was really organized, I would have had this list in advance, but I'm sorry, it's just not happening. Not okay. TriMet.
I had a question too. Are we just concerned about what people within the city limits have to say? Or do we want to reach out to unincorporated areas that are within the Beaverton School District boundaries? So like Oak Hills or Cedar Mill? Or do we just want to worry about trying to tap into some of those communities for the later survey? I'm just wondering if we're working specifically in city boundary lines, or are we going into our greater Beaverton area community that includes everything that's within the Beaverton School District?
Is that this survey or just like our work in general is for anyone who uses Beaverton, whether you live here, you go to school here, you work here, what do you want out of Beaverton in the community? So I don't feel like we need to draw hard boundary lines.
Sorry, I'm just joining. Are we brainstorming places where we can get the survey link out to?
Yeah, we're making a commitment. We did the initial survey and we've had about 300 respondents. Which
great.
Kind of like where marketing said that was our goal. So we're good. And I don't know, it doesn't feel okay to me. It feels like we need more. So we were trying to make an accountability checklist of who all we're going to reach out to in the next week or two before the survey closes.
Oh, so, great. We have a newsletter going out for Beaverton Civic Theater, so I can send that out to everyone who's ever signed up for our list or volunteered with us or anything like that.
Awesome. Yeah. Organizations. And I'm just reading through our list of partners for ideas, but I don't think this should limit us. I think we should be open to having more partners as well.
But that was Amanda C.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That was Amanda Clark. There are two Amandas.
Right, two Amandas. So yeah, Amanda C for the theater. Good catch.
Solve. Does anyone have any connections or want to reach out to Solve? Okay. Tualatin River Keepers, Clean Water Services.
I'm interested in the last two, but these also feel like things that city staff probably already have connections with, and maybe should just be sending something to Clean Water Services instead of me personally. But Tualatin and Solve, Tualatin Valley River, the River Keepers.
Okay.
I'm connected to the person who runs Rebuilding Together here in Beaverton from Leadership Beaverton that we did together, and I can see if she'll include it in her e-newsletter as well, and
awesome.
Her community.
I love that. Best HQ. HQ a few years ago, they won our Partner of the Year. Remember them?
This is Jen. I have a contact there.
Work systems. These are acronyms that I don't know with the city, but BURA, B-U-R-A. Oh, the Urban Renewal Agency. Does anyone have, or is that a committee?
That's within the city.
And
Yeah, that's Bureau is made up of all of the city councilors plus a couple of community people.
Mark Fagin, we'd like to invite you to take the survey.
Thank you. I haven't heard of it. What's it about?
that's a good point. Councilor Fagin, is it possible to remind people at council meetings, or if councilors were willing to put it on their own social media pages?
Yep.
Awesome.
Do we have the Beaverton Downtown Association yet? I can reach out to Kevin with that too.
Okay. I'm sure I missed a few partners in there. I apologize, but list feeling to folks. Are there areas we've left off? Very quiet this meeting.
I wish we had more diversity.
Sorry, who said? Let's see.
No, that was Christina. I wish we had more diverse groups, because I see gaps even here, you know, but hopefully the school district can include something. Virginia Garcia can help us. Habitat for Humanity. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a little bit more diversity, but did someone sign up for the okay, I guess we have a couple of groups, but yeah, like I wish we had more. So we'll definitely need to work on that for the bigger survey later when we have a little bit more of a runway.
What about the welcoming weeks? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Amy. We're partnering with a couple of groups for our welcoming week project that we have in the past and here that are local Beaverton groups, and I'll make sure that they get the information as well too.
I've just put up the welcoming week schedule in the chat. And so if anybody's interested in attending the in-person events and wants to sign up for that.
In regards to the diversity that Christina put up, I mean, that's part of why we hired the project manager to address that. So I feel like what we're doing today is just a second step. It's not the end of our outreach. So we got to leave something for the project manager to do.
I can reach out to the Westside Queer Resource Center and Pride Beaverton.
Well, I'd like to apologize for my silence this evening, but my term with VAC is ending, and I was going to end at the end of the year, but then I got scheduled to do some lectures on the book that I just finished writing, and they are overlapping with my meeting times with the VAC. So tonight is actually my last opportunity to meet with you all, and it's hard because what you've just listed is really exciting work, and I feel like I'm leaving the committee in really good hands with some exciting projects, and it makes leaving a little bit easier for me in that sense, but I'm excited for you all.
I did not know this was your last meeting. I'm so sorry.
Well, I didn't either. But they scheduled my lectures on the East Coast to occupy one of the meetings that are in December, and then a couple other things are coming up in October, November. It was just happenstance of schedule.
Beaverton, where you can promote this link. Just because you're not on the committee, you don't actually ever get to leave back. You know that, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
But
you can
you were
promote
asking
this
for
by Keith
commitment
also.
tonight, so I'm not going to make the commitment tonight.
I think
But that doesn't mean I'm
we need
quiet.
to vote on this. We need to vote on whether we're releasing you or not. I think I'm going to deny your request. Even though I'm an alternate and not allowed to like lead any of the votes.
But congratulations. How exciting is that? Lecture series on your book. Remind us of the title.
The title of my book is Dare to Read. And it's about helping people learn how to read. And I'm starting to do public talks in various places, and the schedule is just overlapping with my work here, so I can't commit.
I understand. Well, we're very proud of you.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for all you've done the past several years.
Are you going to do an audio version of the Dare to Read?
I have many plans for what the next 5 years will bring me, and that might be one of them.
Okay, so in the chat, welcoming week kickoff. So I know, so Shannon, you were saying we could go to any of these. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can. I'm so hesitant to ask people to volunteer to go in person right now. I don't know how people are feeling, but if
Amanda Clark has put in a list of really cool people or groups to contact in the chat. So actually she's reaching some of the communities that I was really hoping to see. So I'm very excited about that, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
No problem.
It's awesome. Thank you, Jen. I will add these to the spreadsheet. Oh, I should, I'm going to copy it because the chat will go away when we close the meeting. Close to 50, so we'll sign Brian up for 2 more organizations, and then Shannon, do we have any idea of what some of the initial feedback was from the survey, or they haven't compiled anything yet?
They have not compiled anything yet. I do not know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone for volunteering to jump in and do some of the legwork to get the word out. And this won't be our last opportunity to be doing with Nathan. That was his name, Nathan, right? Coming on board. That this will be a little bit more, maybe more organized and targeted for the next round. But this is an okay start. I don't have anything else for the agenda. We just wanted to make sure we did a little call to action to feel like we were putting as much energy as we could to the survey. But that is all I have. If we want to do a quick round the room to see if anyone has anything to share about what's going on. That's how we used to end these meetings. We haven't done that in a while though. But yeah, so let's do a quick around the room and see if you have anything going on that people might be interested in. I can just call out because it's awkward. We're not sitting next to each other. You'd think Zoom would stop being awkward, but it's still awkward. Amanda, you're the first on my screen. Do you have anything going on in the next month or so that you want us to know about?
This Amanda doesn't. Not out and about enough.
Christina, how about you?
I'm just keeping busy with work. So I don't have anything to report, but I'm really happy to see the outreach that we're going to be doing. And I'm excited to be going to see the Committee on Aging. And I'm excited that there's work and some momentum going with this, but I'm really going to miss Wade.
Of wisdom.
You cut out there, Sarah.
I was asking Wade if he had any parting words of wisdom. He's next on
Oh,
my.
I didn't, you cut out, so I didn't hear my name.
Oh, sorry.
It's, I would say the parting words of wisdom advice, I would say, is be patient and trust yourselves. You have a huge amount of wisdom within all of you, and don't expect things to just happen overnight. I mean, I've been on VAC now for 3 years, and looking forward to what the list you just made tonight as a step. And I'm very excited about what you all are going to do.
Thanks, Wade. Cameron, you're on mute. Cameron, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
What I was saying is that the tax filing deadline is September 15th. If somebody hasn't filed it, this is their last chance, and otherwise they would be late.
But like with taxes, you can file in it. We're asking.
It is the extension time.
Survey, right? Oh, that's the extension then.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say that Sarah, you did a very good job running the meeting and making that list. It was very good work. Good work.
Yeah,
thanks, Cameron. You're always very sweet to me. All right, Cynthia, Amanda, Clark.
Sure. Well, as part of Welcoming Week, Beaverton Civic Theater is doing another film project. We did Multicultural Cinderellas last year, and this year we're doing Time Traveling Detectives, where kids are going back in time in an interactive workshop to learn about the origins of fall festivals around the world. So if you know any kids, it should be pretty darn cute, like those cool old PBS shows with just the right amount of stickiness going on. So it'll be great. We have some amazing volunteers.
Nice. All right, Councilor Fagin, anything?
Nothing that I haven't talked about already, but thank you. And Wade, thanks for volunteering. It's what helps keep the city going.
I appreciate that. And I forgot to announce November 12th is my first library talk about my book for anyone who wants to learn how to improve their reading skills. November 12th.
What time?
It's at 11 in the morning.
11, okay.
Awesome. Subba?
Yeah, I don't have anything. And wait, actually, Brené Brown had a new book called Dare to Lead. So you should go on tour together.
Yes, I've read that, and I know about Brené Brown, and I will confess that her title was inspiring.
Evie.
There's an event on Saturday that I wanted to share. It's going to be at the Beaverton City Library, and folks are starting to gather around 10 a.m. It's just out front. And then, sorry, gather at 9. And then at 10 a.m., there's going to be a public prayer, and it's in solidarity with water protectors and Indigenous communities. And there'll be different faith groups that are going to be leading prayers. And I heard there's also some elders from Warm Springs are coming who will be leading some prayers as well. So everyone is from the community is welcome. And if you're especially a person of faith and want to be in community and offering prayers, then that's an event. So it's this Saturday, the 4th, and it's outside the Beaverton City Library, gathering starting at 9, and then the prayer at 10.
Thank you. Rachel?
I don't have any events, just everyone please stay safe. Feel things have felt really scary lately with COVID. So yeah, please stay safe. Especially for those who can't get vaccinated yet. Yeah, that's all.
Ben?
Yeah, the mayor is doing a mayor meetup on Thursday, September the 16th from 12 to 2 at the First Street Commons. Masks required. It's just going to be a time to kind of hang out, casual, come and go, chat with the mayor. We're trying to get out into the community in safe, COVID-friendly ways.
Could you repeat the date?
Yeah, September the 16th from 12 to 2. I think the time was wrong in the city update, but it's 12 to 2.
Shannon, anything?
Nothing I haven't said already.
I don't think I have anything right now, but I did just recently join the board for the Oregon Special Olympics. My first meeting's tomorrow, so I might have some events coming up after that. All right. Well, I will reiterate Rachel's comments. Please stay healthy and safe, and good luck to everyone who is going into the adventure of school next week. Cynthia, I'm looking at you. All right. Good night, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.